Paimon really did sleep like a log. Let's go find Seedream. Whoa! How is the infirmary even busier than yesterday?
Good morning, Traveler and Paimon. I have a few people here for a checkup, so you might need to wait for a while.
No problem. Anything we can do to help?
There's a bit of a complicated situation here. I'm still getting to the bottom of it myself.
You have to believe me. I'm telling the truth.
You're in a medical facility. Keep it down.
Please, listen to me. I'm not Gascon. I'm Uy.
You're a horrible liar, you know that? We get all your mugshots with the arrest warrants. It's clear as day that you're Gascon.
You mean because of the way I look? I don't know what happened. I just woke up like this. Then you guys dragged me in here for an interrogation.
I brought you here to figure out what's going on. If you truly are the victim of an injustice, yelling isn't going to achieve anything. At most, it'll delay your vindication.
All right. I get it.
This is nuts. Yesterday's interrogations went fine, and now this.
Morning, Your Grace. What's going on?
Remember the case I mentioned yesterday? The one brought to me by the Marachose Phantom? Well, we've been questioning the inmates involved this morning. Every single one of them is claiming mistaken identity.
Huh. That's even weirder than what that guy was saying yesterday.
The thing is, none of them have been able to provide any evidence whatsoever to support their claims. Questioning them further got us nowhere, so for now, we've brought them to the infirmary.
And we thought yesterday was as busy as it got for Seedream.
We've compiled their statements. Have a look. Perhaps there's something we missed.
Wait.
Release? Interesting. The inmates they spoke of in their statements appear to all be due for release today.
I noticed that too. If that's their plan, they're underestimating us a little. Every serious offender claims that there's someone else who just so happens to be due for release today. And they're expecting us to go along with that.
All the more reason to be cautious. Lumberzar, check the release list for today and make sure no one gets processed. We're gonna need an excuse, though. Just say we're out of forms, and that we're furiously printing more as we speak.
I'm on it.
It's conceivable that our group of serious offenders somehow found a way to switch places with inmates who are about to be released, so they can walk out right under our noses.
We did consider that possibility. But I mean, just look at them. They match the warrants, period. How could there have been a switch?
Only if they're dead ringers for the inmates due for release, I suppose. I gave you that name list yesterday to assist in your investigation. Did that help?
Yes, the inmates' mugshots were attached to the list. The first thing I did was check for lookalikes, and I didn't find any. The only other thing that stands out to me is that their voices sound a little different today. But it's not exactly hard to put on a fake voice.
Oh, really? What does our head nurse make of all of this?
Give me a moment. I think I have a way to confirm whether there's been a switch. I know, it's not time to change your dressing yet, but please bear with me.
Huh? Isn't that the guy from yesterday?
This should be Honore. He has very severe facial ulcers, which require an operation in the hospital at the Court of Fontaine. I authorized him to leave the fortress for medical treatment under guarded escort.
Yes, like I told you. I'm not Putton. I'm Honore.
So there has been a swap. Well, I can see what happened in Potton's case, but how do you explain the other inmates' bodies? Are you?
No, I believe it was their faces that got switched. The method is a bit like replacing a tooth. Take the bad tooth out, put a false one in. And actually, I think I can prove it to you. Traveler, Paimon, do you remember Eric from the other day?
Yeah, sure do.
Then you can be my witnesses. To start with, please fetch the inmate who claims to be Eric. So, you're Eric?
Yes, head nurse. It's me. You do believe me, right?
I need to do another examination on you. Same procedure as yesterday.
All right. It's the cognition test first, right? So I need to concentrate.
Now, try to recall if you can. The last time we did this test, which finger did I hold up?
I believe it was your index finger.
But that means...
Huh?
So basically, last night, the Eric who said he saw another him suddenly recovered and applied to leave the observation ward. Seadwing did another test before letting him leave, but that time, she held up her pinky finger.
I don't know about any test last night. There was nothing to do in the observation ward, so I went straight to bed. Then I somehow woke up in a high-security cell.
Well, in that case, there is a reasonable explanation for the strange events of the past 2 days.
So, what exactly happened?
The gang of serious offenders wanted to break out of prison, so they identified a group of scapegoats, namely inmates whose terms were almost up, and planned to switch appearances with them. Last night, when Odilon was on duty, they ambushed him and had one of their group switch appearances with him using their face-swapping method. Inmates were asleep. Odilon spent his night shift carrying out the remainder of their switcheroo plan. However, they made one mistake. Henri changed his appearance to match Eric's earlier than he should have done, and ended up being spotted by the real Eric. Real Eric came to the guards for help, but we didn't know then what we know now, so we put it down to hallucination and sent him to the observation ward. However, since one of the gang members was posing as a guard, they simply changed real Eric's appearance and had their Eric take his place, muddying the waters even further.
Right, because I put Eric on the observation list by then, and no inmates on that list can be processed for departure until I've discharged them.
Hence why the imposters had to pull that little stunt to get fake Eric off the list.
Yeah, it all makes sense now! The Duke cracked the case!
Well, I can't fault the reasoning. But I'm afraid that we ruled out the possibility of face switching very early on in this process.
Criminals altering their facial appearance to commit crimes is nothing new. In fact, one of the explicit duties of the Malazines in the Marechaussee Phantom is to identify criminals in disguise. We carefully examined all the suspects, and there is no evidence that any means of disguise were used in this case.
Well then, how do we explain all this?
So far, it seems more likely that the gang stole documentation belonging to the inmates due for release, and are using that to commit identity fraud.
Actually, there is a potion that can completely change someone's appearance. If they use that, even a Melazine wouldn't be able to detect it.
A shape-shifting potion?
Forgive me, head nurse, but this is the first time I'm hearing about it. If such a potion truly existed, it would jeopardize our entire investigative process at the Marechaussee Phantom. Are you certain of this?
Yes, I am.
But
Please trust me in my professional opinion as an experienced clinician.
At the same time, without any solid evidence, it's pure speculation. If we can round up all the inmates suspected of switching places, then have a little talk with both sides, we might just get our answer. Yep, let's do that.
okay. Well, it was our negligence that meant we had. We'll do it your way.
Your Grace, bad news. I paused the releases like you asked, but we were too late. A bunch of people already got processed 2 hours ago. I checked the list, and sure enough, it's all the people who gave statements.
2 hours ago? That's before today's interrogations began. They had this all planned out.
So there really was a switch after all. They really pulled the wool over our eyes on this one.
We should be able to catch up with them if we leave now, right?
Not if that potion is real. They can just switch faces again after leaving the fortress. And if the Marechaussee's Melusines can't even spot them, we wouldn't know where to start searching.
Yikes! So we're at a complete dead end!
Well, technically there is one more lead we could follow up on. We were only able to arrest this gang thanks to the help of a researcher from the Fontaine Research Institute. I believe his name is Rawat.
Oh? Rawat? Isn't that the handsome guy we met at that skincare promotion?
Handsome? Maybe from a human point of view. I just remember that he specialized in potions. One of the crimes this gang is charged with is the manufacture and sale of illicit drugs. According to Mr. Rawat, they appear to have stolen technology he developed through his research and used it in their operation. At first, he thought it was a typical case of intellectual property infringement, and he tried to negotiate with them. But once he discovered their criminal operation, he reported them to the authorities. Thanks to his report, we were able to swoop in and arrest them all in one go.
What a hero! Bet that took courage on his part.
No doubt. This is worth following up on. As the one who snitched on them, it's highly likely that Rawat will be targeted by the escapees. That aside, since he's negotiated with them in person before, there's a chance he'll have some additional information for us.
Understood, Your Grace. My team and I will head to the Fontaine Research Institute right away. In the meantime, please keep an eye on the face switch victims for us.
Of course.
Miss Morgan?
Why's that?
Well, I'm the one who discharged the fake Eric last night, so I feel partly responsible.
Don't say that, head nurse. Your focus was on the inmate's health, and rightly so. We can't ask you to help with arresting criminals. That's our duty.
I also have a more personal reason. Potton is a patient of mine, and if I don't get a new batch of medicine to him in time, his condition will get much worse.
Look, head nurse, I completely understand where you're coming from. But arresting criminals is dangerous business. And if anything happened to you, none of us can afford to take on that responsibility.
Don't worry, I can defend myself just fine.
You say that, but still.
If I may, Miss Morgan, Siegeween is the one who raised the potion hypothesis, and I'm sure she has far more expertise on the topic than your team. My suggestion would be to bring her with you. And if you really are worried for her safety, then... Ah, there you go, right on cue. Knew I could count on you.
Okay. Well, since this plan has the Duke's blessing, far be it from me to refuse. We should head off immediately. Time is of the essence.